We're going to start today lying down. And we are just going to start to relax into your mat as if you were in Shavasana here. Just bring your hands to your belly and start to deepen the breath. Focus on sending your breath just to the space underneath the belly button. This allows us to just get into the present moment. Helps us to arrive here on our mat before we start movement. Let's take 2 more breaths. And then when you're ready, we're going to start to bring the hands and the feet up into the sky. Just stretch everything up overhead. Point the toes and the fingers. Roll around the wrists and the ankles. And then plug the shoulder blades back into the mat. Start to bend the knees. So we're going to move into, it's called dead bug. You want your spine to be relatively flat on your mat, with your sacrum especially pressing down. So the sacrum is just like around the waistband of where your pants would be. So from here, this is going to be an exercise that helps to turn on the core and helps prep us for the rest of our movement practice. So we're going to move at opposites, so opposite arm and leg. So if I'm bringing my left arm down close to my ear, I'm also going to bring my right heel to the ground. And then pick both back up, bring them into center, and then we'll do the other side. The left leg comes down the same time as the right arm. And we're just going to alternate like this back and forth. You'll feel right away that your core is turning on. This is also helping with mobility. Anytime we bring the arms overhead, it's not something that we usually do on a day-to-day basis, so that is good for our mobility as well, the shoulders. Let's do a couple more on each side. And you can match your movement to your breath. Making your inhales when your arm and your leg go down, and exhale, bring them back up. One more time each way. Good. Extend everything back up towards the ceiling, roll it around again, just kind of give everything a shake. And then you can bring your feet to your mat, reach for your heels with your fingertips, and then bring your elbows to the mat, face your fingertips towards the ceiling. We're going to do a thoracic bridge first, so that just means that our hips stay on the ground. We're going to push through the elbows, and it's just a really subtle movement, but your chest will come up off the mat. Big breath here. And release. Start to bring it back down. On your next breath in, you can bring your arms down by your sides, and we're going to lift the hips all the way up into a bridge. You can roll the shoulder blades underneath you, clasp your hands, create some pressure through the elbows again so that there's no pressure in the neck. You want to feel like your knees are coming in towards each other instead of splitting out to the sides. And we'll take one more breath here. And release. Vertebrae by vertebrae, start to come back down to the mat. Heel toe your feet to the outer edges and just start to windshield wiper your legs a little bit back and forth. Bring the knees in and out. And then come back into neutral, squeeze the knees into the chest, pick up the chin, look towards your knees, and then bring the hands underneath the knees. Start to just rock up and down the spine. Do this a few times. It's kind of like a gentle massage. And the next time, cross your ankles, roll up over your ankles, and we'll make our way into the tabletop position. So hands under shoulders, knees under hips. From here, on our inhale, bring the tailbone up, the chin up. And on the exhale, round out the back, push it towards the ceiling, moving through our cat-cow. 2 more times like this, following your own breath. From here, we'll come back into neutral. We're going to do the same motion of opposite arm and leg going through. This is called a bird dog. So get really solid in your hands and your knees. And the first thing we'll do is pick up our right heel, just send it all the way back in space behind us. Once you feel solid here, pick up your left hand, take it all the way up in front of you. You want the back of the neck to still be long, so you're looking down at the mat. Hold here, a little bit more feeling in the core. And then on your inhale, we're going to crunch everything in, bring the elbow to the knee. And exhale, extend, get long. 2 more times, follow your breath. Crunching everything into a little ball on the inhale. And exhale, extend. Once you've done that 3 times, bring the left hand back down, followed by the right knee. You can start to push the ribs out from side to side. Whatever movement feels good in the spine here before we go on to our other side of our bird dog. So we'll come back into neutral. Take the left heel all the way back behind you. Get really solid here and then pick up the right arm. Inhale, crunch everything in. And exhale, extend. Follow your breath. Exhales, get long, create space. Inhales, come all the way in, using the core. 3 times, then bring the right hand down and the left knee. This time we'll bring the hands all the way out in front, bring the knees together. Just start to go in big circles with the hips. We'll go a few times in each direction. Warming up the wrists a little bit. Switch directions if you haven't yet. And then we're going to bring the hands back, bring the knees wide again, back in our tabletop. Come back into a neutral spine, still looking down at the mat. From here, you're going to pick that right heel up again and just take it all the way up. And then we'll bring the knee out to the side, bring it up and in. So you're essentially making as big of a circle as you can with that right knee. Trying to keep the hips square to the mat. So once you've done that a few times, and if it's starting to feel a little bit easier, you can make it a little bit more challenging by doing the same thing with the opposite elbow. So if our right knee is up, you're bringing left hand towards the left ear and going big circles in the same direction. This, once again, is going to be some core work. So take a break whenever you need. But also feel like you can challenge yourself a little bit. So once you've done that a few times, switch directions. One more time. And then start to bring the hand down, followed by the knee. Shake everything out, shake out the head. Let the shoulders relax. Maybe tuck the toes under, push back through the hands, stretch out the feet a bit here before we do the other side. These small movements that don't look very hard, but it's a lot of work. Start to come back up into your tabletop. Move on to the other side. So flex the left foot, bring it back up behind you. Take the knee out to the side, up and in. Make a few more circles like that while you feel like you can get solid in your hands. And then bring the right hand to the right ear. And we'll start to make our big circles going the same direction. Once you're feeling good here, you can change directions whenever suits you, whenever you feel like you want to switch it up. One more time. And then start to bring the right hand down. And the left knee. Bring the hands up a little bit higher and wider, bring the knees together. And this time just tip the hips all the way over to the right. Come back into neutral, all the way over to the left. Let's do that 2 more times each side. Last one. Nice, okay, so from here, bring the knees just a little bit wider, reach the fingertips all the way forward, sit the hips back, come into your child's pose. You can bring the forehead down, take a breath. And then we'll start to bring the hands all the way over to the right side of the mat, pull through the finger pads so you can get a really big stretch on that left side of the body. Start to curl the hands through center, bring them all the way over to the left. Stretch out that right lat, bring the forehead down. Start to come back into center with the hands. Sit up into tall kneeling. Bring your hands as if you were putting them into your back pockets and just push the elbows back, gentle back bend here. And come back into center, bring the hands back down, we're back in our tabletop. Bring the knees a bit wide and the big toes can come to touch. Place the right hand in the center of the chest, inhale the left arm up. And on the exhale, loop it through. On your inhales, we're coming all the way up, big stretch in the T-spine. And on the exhales, you're looping that left arm through the right. One more time, inhale the left arm up. And on the exhale, replace the right hand with the left in the center of the chest. On your next inhale, comes right arm. Inhale, come up. And exhale through. Last time, inhale. And on the exhale, bring the right hand down beside the left. Knees can come closer together again. Tuck the toes under. We're going to lift the hips all the way up slowly and come into our first downward dog. Pedal out the feet, stretch out the calves. As much movement as you need here. You can keep a really big bend at the knees. We haven't really warmed up the hamstrings all that much yet. And on your next breath, start to tiptoe the feet between the hands at the top of the mat, fold all the way forward. Grab onto opposite elbows, just start to rock a little bit from side to side. You can straighten the alternate leg as you rock, just to warm up the hamstrings. And then release the elbows. Your next breath in, roll the spine up slowly until you're standing at the top of the mat. Take a big exhale when you get to your standing position. Your next breath in, bring the arms overhead, look up, and exhale, fold. Bring the hands up to the shins, make a flat spine. And on your next breath out, bring the hands down. Take the right foot all the way back behind you. We'll leave the right arm down. Inhale the left arm up. So same twist that we were doing when we had our knees on the mat. Now we're doing a lunge. Just hold here for one more breath. And then bring the left hand back down to frame that left foot. Get steady here through the legs and come up all the way to your high lunge. Big stretch in the right hip. Hold here. And then we'll bounce off the right foot, bring the right foot halfway up the mat. We're going to interlace the fingers behind us and hinge at the hips, just folding forward over that front leg. Let gravity take your hands down and open up the chest. Inhale, release the hands, bring the hands to the hips, start to hinge all the way back up. We'll take that back foot all the way back and pivot on the heel so we can come into our warrior two. Breathe here. And we're just going to start to rock back and forth, kind of feeling like you're on a surfboard, maybe. So bending the front knee and then straightening, bending the back knee. Going back and forth like this, feeling really strong in the arms, being able to hold this position. And just rock a few more times. The next time you rock forward, bring the elbow to the knee. The right hand can come up overhead or reach forward towards the wall. If you want to play with a bind here, you can do that. So you can bring the left hand just underneath the knee and the right hand to the lower back and see if you can touch your fingertips together. Or you can straighten this front leg a little bit more and come into triangle. Whatever feels good in your body right now. Come up through warrior two wherever you are. Bring the right hand down the right leg. Left arm overhead, side stretch the other way, exalted warrior. And then we'll cartwheel the hands to frame the left foot, bounce off the right foot again, come into your standing splits. Just take that right foot as high into the sky as you can. And then you can stay here, or if you want a little bit of balancing work, just hover your fingertips off the ground, or you can bring them all the way down by your sides for warrior three. If you want even more of a challenge, you can bring your hands out in front of you, your biceps beside your ears. Try to keep your hips square. And when you're ready, take the hands all the way down, bring the right foot down again so you're in your lunge. Left foot goes back beside the right so you're in plank. Hold here for a breath. And then bring the knees down, lower all the way to the front of the body. Bring your hands just slightly out in front, and on your next breath in, loop the shoulders up and back, come up slightly, just for cobra for a breath here. And then release them down. Let's do that one more time. Lift up for cobra. So really gentle back position. You want to be pulling forward with the hands. Release on the exhale, bring the hands back under the shoulders, and lift up all the way until you're back in your downward facing dog. Step to the top of your mat, land in our forward fold. And then inhale, come all the way up, bring the hands overhead right away. Exhale, fold again, dive forward. Bring the hands to the shins, come up halfway. Bring the hands down. Take the left foot back behind you. Leave the left hand down, inhale the right arm up. In our twist. Hold here, one more breath. And then bring that right hand back down. Get solid through the feet. Bring the arms overhead, high lunge. Bounce off of that back foot halfway up. Interlace the hands behind you and hinge at the hips. Fold over the front leg. Let gravity take your hands down. Then open up the chest. And start to release the hands. Bring them to your hips. Hinge back up. We'll take that. There'll be a little bit of balance on the front foot. Take the back foot all the way back, pivot on the back heel, come into your warrior two. Strong arms here as we start to shift back and forth, riding our imaginary surfboard. So bending the front knee as we move forward, the back knee as we head back. Focusing your gaze just over your fingertips. Find a place on the wall in front of you. A couple more times like this. And the next time you rock forward, bring the elbow to the knee, left hand goes up or all the way over towards the wall. Now you can stay here the entire time, or if you were playing with a bind on the other side, you can try to bind here. Or you can straighten this front leg, come into triangle instead. Whatever feels best in your body right now, or whatever you want to challenge yourself with. Wherever you are, start to move up through your warrior two, come into exalted warrior. Left hand goes down the left leg, right arm goes up overhead, look towards that right hand. And then cartwheel the hands, so they frame the front foot. Bounce off the back foot, come into your standing splits. Left foot goes as high as you can take it into the air. And then you can stay there, or you can hover your fingertips off or move all the way into your warrior three. Again, we're trying to keep our hips square. Feel the ankle doing a lot of work here. You can keep like a micro bend in that standing knee so you're not totally locked out. Your arms can be down by your side or up in front of you, biceps by the ears, if you want more of a challenge. A couple more breaths. A lot of work. Start to bring the hands down again and reach that left foot all the way back. Land in our lunge, and then take the right foot beside the left. So you're in plank. Hold here for a couple breaths. And then you can move through the vinyasa of your choice, either bringing the knees down and going through cobra, or chaturanga push-up, elbows at your sides, moving into upward facing dog. And we'll all meet in our downward facing dog. Take 2 breaths here. Start to walk the feet to the top of the mat, fold forward. And then we're going to make our way to seated, so you can either heel toe your feet to the outer edges of the mat and come through Malasana, your yogi squat, or you can just cross your ankles and come all the way down. Either way, we're going to meet here in a cross-legged position. You're going to bring your right hand back behind you, left hand comes to right knee. Just use that knee as leverage as you twist towards the right. Try to soften your gaze here, soften your jaw. And using the core for our twist a couple more times here before we finish off our practice. Start to release, come back into center. Bring both hands to the knees. We're just going to do a few big circles in the hips before we switch sides. Let's go a few times in one direction, then we'll switch, go a few times in the other. Come back into neutral. This is something that we need to think about a little bit more than we maybe should, but let's cross the ankles. So we're sitting in our cross-legged position in a way that doesn't feel quite as natural. Then we're going to bring our left hand behind us, right hand to left knee, twist towards the left, use the core. Might feel a little weird on this side if you're not used to sitting with your ankles crossed this way. release, come back into neutral. Let's do our big hip circles again. Couple times in one direction, switch, couple times in the other. And take your feet out in front of you. We're going to head down into our Shavasana. If there's any other poses that you feel like doing, anything else that your body's asking for, do that now. If you want one more back bend before we head into Shavasana, you can try out fish. But for some people, this is a little bit too much pressure in the neck. So if you want to try it, here's how you do it. So you bring your hands just somewhere underneath your bum so you can kind of use your legs here as leverage. And then you want to pull with your hands so you can come up onto your elbows. Your head comes up, and then you place your head gently back on the mat. So it's a back bend in the upper spine. And there shouldn't really be any tension. Like I'm able to talk here normally, breathe normally. If your breath is ever interrupted, you know that you've gone too far in that pose. So if you're in fish, we'll take one more breath here. And then push through the elbows again so you can straighten back out. And we'll head into Shavasana, our final resting pose. If you want to give yourself one more big stretch before we do, raise your arms all the way overhead, point your toes, point your fingers. And then bring your arms down by your sides. We'll take a few breaths here just to let everything from our practice settle into the body. Do a quick reflection on the work that you just did. And send your breath wherever you feel like there might still be some tension. You can start to gently bring yourself back into the room. Blink your eyes open, wiggle your fingers and your toes, bring your knees up closer to your chest. We'll roll over to one side and push up to seated. A comfortable seat. And we'll take a breath together to finish. So big inhale in, audible exhale. Hope you have a great rest of your day and that you feel some more stability, some more energy after this practice. Hope to see you back here again soon. Namaste.